Nate, I know you're a gamer, and, gamers get paid a lot of money these days, so you think in your next contract extension, you're just gonna go out there and say, okay, no, we're not gonna go ahead and do that. We're not gonna do the full quote because, yeah, that's kind of weird. Let's talk today about a report from Adrian Dater, the guy who went out there and asked Nathan MacKinnon those questions, or something similar to that a year ago. I know I like to meme on it all the time, but big respect out there to Adrian Dater. I know a lot of Colorado Avalanche fans don't really have that same respect based off of what I've read on their subreddit, but either way, today we're talking about the Colorado Avalanche and Nathan MacKinnon. Because of a piece published on Colorado Hockey Now the other day, 1 year ago the Avs got kicked out in the second round by the Vegas Golden Knights. Adrian Dater asked Nathan MacKinnon if next year they're just going to say F it and win this whole thing, don't even overthink it. And I guess that's what they kind of did, because they won the Stanley Cup in 2021-2022 in the finals against the Tampa Bay Lightning. MacKinnon went head-to-head with Connor McDavid in the third round, and he came out on top. But a very interesting thing about Connor McDavid, the opponent in the Colorado-Edmonton showdown, is the fact that McDavid for a long time now has been the most paid player in the entire NHL's history. A $12.5 million AAV contract is the most amount of money that any contract in NHL history has ever signed for before. Sure, there have been individual years where some players have gotten more money, like Fedorov, for example, in the late 90s had one season where he got paid $28 million. I don't know why the heck that happened. But when it comes to modern-day cap management, AAVs, etc., 12.5 AAV is the highest we have ever seen. The reason it's interesting to bring up Connor McDavid is because with Nathan MacKinnon, he is also a player that is somewhat in that same tier, maybe even just a shade below in some people's eyes. Some might even say he's a little bit better than McDavid because of the intensity and the responsibility and the eagerness that MacKinnon has. This most recent season, in 65 games played for the Colorado Avalanche, Nathan MacKinnon had 88 points, 32 goals, and 56 assists. Do the math over 82, 88 divvy 65 multiplied out by a full year. He was on pace for 111 points. In the playoffs, he was over a point per game as well, getting 24 points in the 20 games it took for the Avs to win the Stanley Cup. And MacKinnon has been in a pretty good spot, cap-wise, when it comes to being available for his team. He's got one season left on his current contract, making $6.3 million a season. Now, this contract, 7 years by 6.3, was signed all the way back after he completed his entry level in 2015-16. Back in that time frame, MacKinnon had 52 points in 72 games played, so he wasn't really the monster that he is today. Lo and behold, he absolutely exploded in terms of his NHL consistency, his ability to produce points, his goal scoring, his work ethic, his speed. Everything just ramped up to the moon and back like that penny stock that your uncle keeps on trying to promote to you after MacKinnon signed that contract. And thus, this 6.3 AAV deal was seen in many people's eyes as probably the most valuable contract in the entire league. When MacKinnon was in the lineup, of course, he hadn't played a full 82-game season since 2018-19. The next few years, he got 69 games played. Okay, the season was cut short, that's not his fault. 48 games played in the 56-game year, not really his fault either. And then he had 65 games played this recent season. Nathan MacKinnon, though, is in a caliber of talent where a lot of people could say that he could realistically demand something in the $11.5, maybe even $12 million AAV range on his next deal, starting from 27 years old. Which is why we go over onto Colorado Hockey Now, where we look at what Adrian Dater has to say. Here's an exclusive report. Nathan MacKinnon is seeking to be the NHL's highest paid player plus. This is what the article says. NHL sources tell Colorado Hockey Now that the Nathan MacKinnon camp is expecting the star center to become the highest paid player in the league on his next contract, which is currently under negotiation. That's it. That's the article. There actually isn't too much more. If you're not a Colorado Hockey Now subscriber, there's actually a little bit of a promo in the body of this article, so you can go ahead and click on that if you want. But that's pretty much the scoop that we have here, that Nathan MacKinnon is apparently seeking a contract that will exceed the highest AAV given to any one of these players in Connor McDavid at 12.5 per. Now, the first thing that a lot of Colorado fans are going out there and saying is that, hey, wait a minute, Nathan MacKinnon said a while ago that he actually would be interested in taking a team-friendly deal. Where the heck is this report coming from, saying that he wants to get the highest paid AAV in the NHL's history? Are you serious? But at the same time, I really wouldn't put too much stock into anything like that, because we hear players say all the time, yeah, I would like to take a discount here, I like it here, etc. Sometimes they do that, like Patrice Bergeron the other day. 1 year, 2.5 AAV, fantastic, chef's kiss moi. But for other players, sometimes you hear him say, yeah, I like it here, I want to stick around, I'd be willing to take a hometown discount, and then boom, he goes to free agency, he gets the bag, and in some cases it makes even less sense that he's not re-signing with a team that could have offered him more money in the first place. But either way, all Johnny Gaudreau memes aside, there still is a little bit of a backlash that I've seen amongst Colorado Avalanche fans saying, hey, why the hell are we going to believe Adrian Dater? Here's a comment on the Avalanche subreddit from Hood Phones. It's a little bit more on the lighter side when it comes to it's Adrian Dater criticism. Everyone's saying he said he was going to take a discount. That was years ago. Let's not rely on that. However, this is freaking Adrian Dater, so let's not rely on that either. I'm just happy if it's anything below 12.5. If it's in the 11s, I am ecstatic. Does not trust, say, hey, I'm not sure why you're getting downvoted. 100% anything less than 12.5 is a team-friendly deal. Meanwhile, if you go over to the Oilers subreddit, you take a look at what their fans are saying about this entire report, he will make more than 12.5. Someone has to eventually surpass McDavid's contract, right? The fact is, Connor McDavid and his 12.5 AAV was signed immediately after his entry-level deal expired in, 2018? So it's been 4 years or so of having this contract be the de facto #1 AAV contract the NHL has ever seen. It's a matter of time before somebody goes out there and breaks that mold, right? Auston Matthews, once his bridge deal expires, Nathan MacKinnon this upcoming offseason when he gets his extension, because you know the Colorado Avalanche are going to keep this guy. You're not going to see them pull a Johnny Gaudreau situation, aren't you? There, in fact, is the other perspective that says that, hey, Nathan MacKinnon could very well just go out there and take a discount because here's a comment from Luna4589 that highlights it pretty well. MacKinnon has modeled so much of his career after Sidney Crosby. Who knew that if he took less money, it would give his team the ability to build around him? Crosby wanted to win cups, and his decision helped the Pens win 3. I'd be surprised if this was true, that MacKinnon was looking for the highest paid amount of money in an AAV's contract history, especially considering the source. Then the reply here says, hopefully he copies Sid's birth year AAV. Crosby went for 8.7, so maybe Nate will go 9.5. Now, that's, pretty whack, eh? I don't really know if that's going to be in the territory here. Long story short, I do think that with the body of work MacKinnon is capable of, with the contracts given out to other guys like Panarin, you have Marner, you have Matthews, Tavares, Mac Daddy's getting 8 figures. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, 10.5 each. Carey Price is making 10. Nathan MacKinnon signed his 6.3 AV deal when he was a 50-point guy, and they kind of expected him to become a 70, 80-ish point guy consistently since then. Nowadays, he's a 100-point pace player that just hasn't played the amount of games necessary to get to 100 points in a season yet. But he is so gosh darn good that there are so many people going out there saying, hey, if I'm building a team from scratch, if I'm going out there in the postseason, would I rather have McDavid or MacKinnon? A lot of people would go out there and say MacKinnon. I personally am on the McDavid train because you can't argue with the amount of points that the guy got, but for Nathan MacKinnon, there is somewhat of an infectious ability to go out there and will results on the ice that I think can translate to other areas of your lineup that I don't really know Connor McDavid just has. McDavid is just so talented, but at the end of the day, there's a lot more to hockey than just one player's individual talent. So at the end of the day, if Nathan MacKinnon gets something in the $12 million AAV range, I wouldn't be surprised. If he gets the same 12.5 AAV contract, I wouldn't be surprised either. If it gets 11, I wouldn't be surprised. If it gets 13, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a new world in the cap era, baby. So talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about Nathan MacKinnon and his upcoming contract extension negotiation process that he's going to have with the Colorado Avalanche. If you had to predict, because we're going to say that Nathan MacKinnon is going to re-sign, we're not going to say he's going to another team or whatever. You have to predict this. How much does Nathan MacKinnon sign for with the Avs? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also keep in mind that he will be a UFA after this upcoming contract year happens, so how much does that affect this entire discussion here? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Trolls 99, and bye.